Well, the final defendant in a violent carjacking spree targeting Uber and Lyft drivers has pleaded guilty in federal court.
Let's go now to Paul Bloom. Paul, these attacks terrified those in the rideshare industry here in the metro.
Randy, accounts of these attacks date back a couple of years. The federal conspiracy prosecutors pursued aggressively. Tonight, a fourth defendant pleading guilty. According to authorities, the scheme involved armed suspects luring victim drivers to specific locations under the guise of picking up or dropping off passengers. The suspects would demand cell phones and wallets, often accessing a victim's online financial apps to steal money. Sometimes they would carjack the vehicle, beating a victim or threatening violence at gunpoint. In this case, 20-year-old Eric Knight pleading guilty to one count of conspiracy to use a firearm in a crime of violence, one of 4 defendants involved in the conspiracy. As for the current situation out on the streets, both Minneapolis and St. Paul have seen declines this year in the number of carjackings, but it is still happening. The two cities report a total of 179 carjackings so far this year. Interestingly, new legislation goes into effect August 1st, naming carjacking as a state crime.
It needs to be a crime. It should be a crime. We made it a crime. And I think that in and of itself has significance.
Previously, carjacking fell in a category of either robbery or theft. Minnesota's Sentencing Guidelines Commission currently debating potential consequences for those convicted, with at least one Republican lawmaker pressing for enhanced penalties.
This is a serious and violent crime with deadly consequences to perpetrator and citizen alike.
As for Eric Knight and his guilty plea in federal court, a sentencing date has not yet been set. Meantime, we should know more about the new state sentencing guidelines for state carjacking convictions coming up next week. Paul Bloom, Fox 9.